I think this is a good opportunity for us to talk about the current commander-in-chief. There's obviously, I mentioned at the outset, we have a lot of domestic crises going on simultaneously. We're looking at a border crisis about to get worse, inflation crisis that is pretty dramatic. We see Americans, 1 out of 5 of them, the reports this week, who can't actually make it to the next paycheck without expending all of their resources. And then, of course, going into debt. That's awful. And then we've got a very high stakes, fragile foreign policy thing that's going on right now. And the truth is, Joe Biden is stumbling through it. I mean, everything from calling for regime change to backing off those calls to once again calling for it. There's been some chatter on the right about, maybe it's time for the 25th Amendment. Maybe it's time for members of the cabinet to intervene and say, we need somebody who can at least, even if we don't agree with them, have a steady hand on this crisis. Are you there? Do you think that that's would be a good step, Congressman Jordan?
Well, here's what I know. We've never seen anything this bad. I mean, you can pick the policy area events, and Jason, I mean, look, we went from a secure border to complete chaos, 2 million illegal immigrants crossing our border in 1 year alone. We went from stable prices to record inflation, 40-year high inflation. We went from energy independence to the president begging OPEC, Iran, and Venezuela to increase production. I mean, come on. We went from relatively safe cities, safe streets to record levels of crime in every major urban area. And then the metaphor for the Biden administration, I think, or the picture that I think stays in people's mind is last summer when that plane was taking off in Afghanistan, and you had you had people trying to jump on the wheels of that plane. That is a picture of just how bad it's been. I think, what is it? 63% of the country thinks we're on the wrong track. The real question to me is who are the 37% who think we're on the right track, for goodness sake? So it's bad. Whether this cabinet will do that, I don't know. But every time you hear him speak, I think not only do Americans see like, what is this guy doing? But I think our foreign adversaries see the same thing, which is also troubling and compounds the concern I think that we all have for this administration.
I worry here because I have kind of conflicting concerns. I look back at the Trump era and remember that there were all sorts of bureaucrats within the administration who were trying to stop the president from pursuing his agenda. You had Miles Taylor, who called himself anonymous in the New York Times, saying he was a high-level official. He wasn't, but it was symptomatic of this notion within the administration that there needs to be bureaucratic intervention to stop the intentions of the president of the United States. Now we have Joe Biden in office, and something interesting that's happening, he'll come out and he'll say something, and the bureaucrats around him, some of the political appointees around him will say, whatever he said, he didn't mean that. And they'll back people off of that position.
Right.
Now, I don't like this. I don't like this world where the bureaucrats are running the show and that the president's words aren't good enough. But simultaneously,
so you don't think that happened during the last administration, that people tried to clean up the president's words?
That's what I'm saying. They did.
I recall that happening a lot.
Constantly. No, Jason, you're missing my point. I'm saying that happened constantly. And so I don't like that for any president. But simultaneously, I'm very concerned with this president's leadership. Well,
I get both points. And you're right about these unelected officials. I've said many times, say it in speeches. When did Dr. Fauci ever put his name on a ballot?
Right.
When did he ever go out and talk to we the people and actually run for office, talk to constituents? But he's the highest paid official in our government, and frankly ran our lives for the last year and a half, and put all kinds of restrictions on our liberty because it was Saint Fauci. Whatever he said, it seemed like Democrat elected officials then were going to do what he said, but he was never elected. So these unelected experts are not supposed to make policy in this country. It's supposed to be those individuals directly accountable to we the people, the people whose names are on the ballot get elected to office. They're supposed to make the decision. So that is a fundamental constitutional principle.
Yeah. So the only thing is like there are a couple of things that were stated that I think need a little bit of context. First of all, and one of the things that I can't stand is when we get so partisan that I feel like I have to defend people that I don't necessarily want to defend. But I will say this, in terms of unauthorized
but you're gonna do it anyway.
Well, I'll tell you, because I think things need truth, and I think we need to add actual context when people start spouting off. Because I actually heard you recently say the exact same line in another show, Congressman, where you said, who are the other 37%? I heard you say
Yeah.
that exact same talking point.
But it's a good
listen,
point though, Jason.
No, I'm not saying it's a fair point, but I'm saying like it read like a script. Like I could actually.
Jason, are you demanding fresh content? Is that what
I
you're
want
demanding?
fresh content.